These tiny little shifts have somehow repaced the rhythm of my day so that everything just fits together better. Over the past several months, I've been trying a bunch of little things to make my life better. And by better, I mean all of the usual things like more creative, happier, more productive. And I want to place the emphasis on little things because I cannot tell you how many times I have tried to restructure my life entirely and it did not work. Instead of attempting a whole life glow up this time, I focused on 3 habits. One that begins my day, one that ends my day, and one that falls somewhere in between. And every one of them I've stolen from someone else. But hey, that means they're tried and true, and they really have worked. Now that they've come together, they've formed kind of a scaffold for my day. I feel like I've unlocked a life secret. Let's start with my morning habit. Every morning now, I sit in the corner of my couch and I write for at least half an hour. Now, these aren't morning pages and it's not journaling, although I did steal this habit from Julia Cameron and her Artist's Way. I have changed it to suit my life by working on whatever project I'm currently working on. It turns out I can get quite a lot done in half an hour. And more often than not, it turns into 45 minutes or an hour of writing. And I think the reason that time is extra productive is because it's before I start putting any other inputs into my brain. I don't touch my phone before this half hour. I don't get sucked into social media. I don't read the news. I just get up, make my coffee, and start writing. It's simple, it's straightforward, and it works. For a long time, I've been obsessed with the power of habits and the idea of habit creation. I find it incredibly cool that our brain has this mechanism that forms shortcuts to get us out of repetitive work. In his book, The Power of Habit, Charles Duhigg writes that habits, quote, emerge because the brain is constantly looking for ways to save effort, so that we can focus our mental energy on other, more complex problems. Usually we see habits come in when we kind of sleepwalk our way through our morning routine, or we drive the same route to work every day, or we habitually grab the same brand of milk every time we go to the grocery store. For me, starting every day with wake up, make coffee, write, taps into this shortcut system. That's because the writing part has ceased to be a daily decision and is simply what comes next in the sequence. And the coffee is particularly important here, but we'll get to why in just a little bit. Let me tell you about my second habit. Every day, well, almost every day, I sketch my coffee. And I can't take credit for this habit either. I actually stole it from the YouTuber Struthless, and I'll put a link to his video down in the description. He doesn't sketch his coffee like I do, but he does sketch the same thing every day, and that's where the magic is. Committing to sketching one thing each day, in this case my coffee, is actually a no-brainer shortcut to the habit that I really want to have in my life, which is creating art every day. James Clear's mega bestseller, Atomic Habits, laid out a whole strategy to harness our brain's tendency to shortcut and direct it towards the kind of habits that we actually want in our lives. If you haven't read his book or it's been a while, his thesis is this. There's a very clear 4-step mechanism that he calls the habit loop that underlies habit creation. And by understanding and drawing on this mechanism, we can automate small changes that lead to a cascade of desired behaviors in our life. In the habit loop, a cue reminds you of a need or want that you've had in the past. For example, you walk into the kitchen and you see the coffee pot. Because coffee is delicious and it's helped you feel less tired in the past, you begin to crave a steaming hot cup. How do you respond to that craving? You make yourself a cup of coffee. And then you're rewarded by that first sip of the elixir of the gods, which then reinforces your association between waking up in the morning, seeing the coffee pot, and making yourself a cup of coffee. And so it goes around and around. I'm using coffee as an example for three reasons. First, I love coffee. Second, I think most of us have some sort of a morning drink habit, be it coffee or tea or orange juice or even just a tall glass of water. And third, coffee is key to the way I use one of James Clear's most basic automation tricks. See, it's way easier to add something to your routine if you make that cue part something you already do every day. It's a brain hack. So in my automation, the cascade goes like this. I wake up in the morning, I see my coffee pot. I make myself a coffee, and sipping it reminds me of the feeling of sitting on my couch and writing while I drink my coffee. When I finish writing and my alarm goes off, seeing that beautiful coffee cup on the table next to me makes me want to pull out my art supplies and begin drawing. Sometimes both the writing and the sketching leads to more of the same because the dam's broken. The procrastination that comes that keeps you from starting something has already been dispensed with. Other times, I simply write for half an hour and I draw my coffee cup. But either way, I've done something. The third habit that I've added to my day is a little bit different, but I truly believe that this one is the key to making the other habits work. And I stole this one from some friends of mine with a young child. Every night, my friend told me, we shut down everything at 9 p.m. and read. Now, my friends do this because their daughter is 9 and they're motivated to create a ritual that will teach her to value books and limit screen time. We did the same when my son was little. However, it occurs to me that kids are not the only ones who can benefit from more reading and less screen time. So I adapted the habit for myself. At 9 o'clock or thereabouts every night, I turn off the TV, shut my computer, put my phone on the charger, and then I take a shower, do some word puzzles, and turn to whatever book I'm currently reading until I'm tired enough to go to sleep. In this case, my cue is my bedtime alarm, which isn't the most natural of cues, but I have found the more that I do this and practice it, the more my body starts telling me that it's time to shut things down before that alarm even goes off each night. In fact, by the time the alarm does go off, I'm really craving that transition to quiet and solitude. Creating room between the noise of the day, and I'm really talking about mental noise here of television and the internet, and nighttime sleep gives my mind space to process the day, to settle down and prepare for what's coming tomorrow. And unlike scrolling, reading a book slows my pace, lengthens my attention span, and forces my imagination to fill in the gaps that are left by a text-only medium. I truly believe that this nighttime shutdown routine leads to more creative, focused mornings so that I can wake up each day and be fresh for the habit loops to start all over again. Of course, these 3 habits are not the only habits I have. There are plenty of other habit loops that happen throughout my day, both good and not so great. But I hope that these 3, doing a morning writing session, sketching the same thing, and setting up an early shutdown routine, are things that you can adapt to your own life. And that's because I find them especially suited to the creative life that I, and I know many of you, want to live. Maybe you're even doing something similar already, and if so, I would love to hear about it in the comments. And until next time, I am wishing you love and joy and all of those good things, and I can't wait to talk to you again. If you enjoyed this video, you might also enjoy this one I made last year. In it, I dive even deeper into James Clear's Atomic Habits and how it has impacted